Hi, this video is about labeling your diagram in a clear, non-confusing way and about showing your work using proper labeling and proper notation of geometry. To begin, I will ask you to look at this diagram and tell how many angles you recognize. You may pause your video for it. There are at least 3 angles that you should recognize on your diagram. First one is KOD, which you also can name as angle DOK, and I will mark it in green. This is how I will write the proper name using symbols. Second angle is DOR or ROD, which I will mark in pink. And of course, the third angle is the largest of them, angle KOR or ROK. It is easy to see now that the largest of all, the angle KOR, is actually composed of 2 adjacent angles, the green and the pink one. We call them adjacent because they share a vertex, O, and a ray, OD, one of the arms that belongs to both of the angles. This situation is what we refer to as angle partition postulate, which simply states that if you add all parts of a given angle, they will compose an angle that is congruent to the largest angle. The same expression could be rewritten as a step before you substitute the numbers. That means that you will simply replace the congruent symbol with the symbol of equality. And one more thing, you will include this little lowercase m in front of every angle symbol, so that this represents a measure of a given angle. In our case, there are 2 measures that you add to receive measure of angle KOR, which represents the whole constructed of these 2 parts. Let us talk about labeling the angle itself so that information that's given about it is also visible. First rule of thumb is that the smallest angle that participates in your problem should be marked with the biggest number of curves. So this is my smallest angle, KOD. I will pretend that its measure is expressed by 2x. Notice that I write that 2x sort of in the middle of the curves, as close to them as possible. Second largest angle, at least visibly, is angle DOR. So I will place 2 marks on it. Notice again 3x plus 10, the expression that stands for its measure, is written very close to the 2 marks and sort of in the middle, not to be ambiguous and not to lead us to believe that it stands for something else on this diagram. And in the end, the largest angle would be marked with the fewest number of curves and spaced away from the angles that I already marked again, so that it doesn't confuse us, so that 4x plus 20 is clearly a measure that stands for angle KOR, nothing else. Please notice that I took special care to make sure that curves of one angle do not appear to be continuing the curves of the other. That is again to avoid lack of clarity on my picture. Notice that you need to avoid the situations where 2 curves are continuing one of the curves, or when you're marking your largest angle KOR on the exterior of it, Remember, if parts exist, then they make an angle that's whole, and we have to show that very angle. Again, that is right here rather than what you see on the diagram. And I'm correcting it. This would be wrong. Now we will be able to simply follow the angle partition postulate that we already described with the angles that go there. KOD is 2x. We are adding it with angle DOR, which is 3x plus 10. And finally, the whole stands for 4x plus 20. This is now an equation that we will be able to solve for the value of x. And if needed, we would be able to substitute that value into each of the angles and find their individual measures. I hope this helps in work with your homework. I will see you soon.